All right. After a whole hour of being a disaster, I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
Goodness. I'm like, oh, this will be a great work from home mom job. And then the baby goes crazy. I'm like, goodness.
He just wanted to hang out.
Yeah. Okay, Addie Taylor, are you ready?
Yes.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you on.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm excited to talk through. I feel like you're living a dream job, and I love watching your stories, and you're the funniest person I follow.
Thank you.
On TikTok and Instagram, my favorite.
There's not a higher compliment than that, so thank you.
No, I love it. I don't. Yeah. I'm gonna say what I just was thinking, but okay. So you are, I think, hands down one of the best wedding photographers.
Thank you. That's so nice.
And you're also my cousin. But
Yes.
I also
I
think
paid her to say that.
But I also think that you are so talented. So how did you get into photography and then weddings specifically?
Okay, so whenever I was 12, I had like a little iPhone 5C.
Oh, throwback.
Yeah, with like the colored case, like on the back, like plastic and colored. And I just kind of realized that I love to take photos. I'd always take photos and then edit on like the Visco app, if you know what that is. Like it's like an editing app. It still exists today.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I'm not that old.
So I would use that and I would make my sisters model for me. I'd make my friends model for me. Or I would just take pictures of myself. I would set up a tripod and just kind of experiment and see what I liked. And then whenever I was 14, my parents kind of realized like, oh, like she has an eye for this. Like she's really enjoying it. And it's like coming easily to her. And so they got me my first camera. I remember they bought it from my aunt. And so I started shooting using that camera. And then I got the camera whenever I was 14, I just started taking clients like immediately. I would do family photos and senior photos and portraits. And I just kind of was able to make money whenever I was 14 using that. And so I just kept doing it. And then I ended up shooting my first wedding whenever I was 17.
Holy.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Someone trusted you at 17 to shoot a wedding?
Yeah. And I think I still have access to the photos. So I think I need to look back. But first wedding whenever I was 17, I remember I was so nervous. Like there's so many different things that can happen on a wedding day. And I honestly didn't even know that, like the full extent of anything that could happen on a wedding day. So I was just kind of winging it. And I remember they didn't have a videographer either. And so I was just kind of alone and directing people and everything. So it was kind of nerve-wracking, but...
And did you do that wedding in Texas?
It was in Utah.
It was in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to travel.
Mm-hmm.
So your first wedding gig was a travel job.
Yeah, I was up here for the summer, I think. It was so long ago. That was like... I don't even want to think how long ago it was. I had to travel up for it. I think I was already up here for the summer. And then, because most of my clientele was in Texas, because I'm originally from Texas. And then whenever I officially moved up here, it was a little bit hard to get like a new clientele because I just ditched all my clients back in Texas. And so to start, I would message people on Instagram and say, hey, I'm new to the area. I would love to take photos of you and whoever, of them by themselves, of couples, of anyone. I know eventually that more serious wedding photography was my end goal. So I would kind of gear a little bit more towards couples. And then I would...
Oh, sorry. So we were interrupted by the podcast dog. He's going to come join.
He's so sweet.
Trigger.
Yeah, so I was reaching out to people and saying, if you post about me and tag me, then I'll shoot your photos for free. And so that really got my name out there. And then from there, it's been pretty consistent booking. I remember it was 2 semesters that I was just grinding and posting and posting and posting on Instagram. Instagram was my only form of booking new clients. And it paid off, and I started traveling and started meeting people from all over and lots of recommendations from past brides. And so everything just kind of like snowballed since then. So
that's so fun.
Yeah.
What would you say would be one of your favorite weddings or your favorite places you've traveled?
This past summer, I was hired to second shoot a wedding in upstate New York, and it was beautiful. The whole day was perfect. They had the most amazing food, the most amazing live band, and upstate New York is just insanely beautiful. I had no idea until we pulled up, and I was like, oh, it was gorgeous. And we talk about that wedding day literally every day. It was so fun. I loved it.
Do you have a dream place that you would go?
To shoot or to get married?
Okay. One of each.
To shoot, I would love to shoot in Italy. I was hired on as a second shooter for Italy wedding this summer, so I'm pretty excited about that.
So you're going to Italy?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
That's
excited.
so exciting.
Yeah.
Where at in Italy?
I think the wedding's in Tuscany. Yeah. So if all goes well, all according to plan, then I'll be there this summer. That'll be a dream. And then if I could pick anywhere to have my own wedding, I feel like I've just been to so many at this point. Like,
yeah, you know what's in and what's out. Like,
yeah.
you know the good trends and the ones that are like, don't make that a trend.
Yeah. I don't know, honestly. I feel like California would be really cool, but I've always loved the idea of Italy or like a beach somewhere like Puerto Rico, Hawaii. So sky's the limit, honestly. So
do you have any horror stories from your weddings?
Not from my own weddings. I think in my brain I'm a worrier, and so I like to like pre-plan for anything that would happen. So normally pretty prepared. I'm always scared that I'll lose an SD card or I'll lose photos from someone's wedding. That's probably one of my biggest fears. I know I've shot a couple weddings where like the groomsmen will be kind of annoying, but that's like really all, like that's probably like the worst thing that's happened is just like annoying groomsmen. So I've been very blessed in my 10 years of shooting, 11 years of shooting.
Holy cow, dude.
Yeah.
That's a lot of photos. But you're not just doing photography full time. You're also a college student, and you're interning, and so but you graduate this spring.
Yeah, so I'll walk in April. So I'll graduate. I'm finishing up my degree for public relations right now.
What made you pick public relations?
It's just kind of helped with the back end of my business a lot. It's like a lot of analyzing, focus groups, lots of surveys. And just kind of figuring out how to help a brand, pretty much. Like you could do crisis PR, you could do just normal PR, you could do influencer relations. But for me, it's helped me just be able to understand my target market a little bit more, and just figure out what I can change to better serve them, and what I can change to be able to book more clients. And the research that I have done on my own business so far has been able to really help me just understand everything that's going on behind the scenes a lot better. So I feel like a degree is not necessary for photography, but it's definitely helped me out a lot more than I ever thought it could, at least.
Yeah. What do you think? Well, in my eyes, I feel like photography's harder. Do you think the business side or the photography side of your business is harder? Like, what's been your biggest lesson?
I think the business side is definitely harder because photography fills my cup. Like every wedding day, no matter how long, you just like want to drive home with the windows down and just like blast music. Like you're just like so happy that you could be there for two people's, it's like the most important day of their life, and you got to capture it and be a part of it. And like things that even like their own parents or siblings weren't there for, you were there for. You were there for everything. It's just honestly like really emotional and like powerful, and I just love being able to tell their story from start to finish. And so that just comes easily to me, and just like capturing it and using my camera and film and everything. And then you go home and editing's its own process, and it's so fun, and you get to I love editing. I know a lot of people complain about it, but and then you have to like pay your taxes, and you're like, what? Like that sucks. So the business side definitely is a lot harder.
Yeah. Take me through like your process of a wedding, like from finding the client to you use like Honeybook or something, and then you take all that way through, you go with their day of, and then you go into editing.
Yeah, so normally my packages include engagements and then the wedding day. And if they want to add on like a separate session for their um people call them like their bridals or their formal photos, like more posed formal photos in their wedding attire. So I'll book that. I'll book normally those two or those three all together, and then I meet up with them for their engagements. Sometimes it's in
So
Utah.
you do book your weddings and your engagements together.
Yes, I can. Yeah, I do.
Do you prefer that because you get to know the couple before the wedding day?
I do prefer it, but it makes the wedding day so much more heartbreaking. Like there is nothing like, because you get to know these people really well. Like you're shooting their engagements with them. Sometimes you're like flying out to California with them. You're hanging out with them for hours. And then it's their wedding day. It's like the happiest day of their entire life. And you're just hanging out, making jokes, laughing. And then all of a sudden they just leave. And you're just standing there. And you're like, I'm so sad. Like my friends just left. Like they were the only people that I knew at this wedding, and like now they're gone. It's honestly very sad. Like I miss all of my couples every time that they leave.
Do you follow all your couples and get to
Oh,
see
yeah.
their life progress? So then they have like their little babies and
Mm-hmm. It's so
accomplishments?
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's always so flattering whenever you take someone's like engagement photos and then their wedding photos, and then they reach out a couple years later for their baby announcement photos. It's really emotional, honestly. It's very touching.
When was the moment that you knew you wanted to do this for a career?
I actually remember that moment like very vividly. I was on my first flight. Not because I used to do Utah, Texas, Utah, Texas, Utah, Texas. And I remember I was on my first flight out to California. My first flight that like was fully covered. Like my travel was fully covered, my stay, my car, my hotel, my flight, everything. And I remember like I was listening to some music in my headphones and I was like, this is actually the coolest thing ever. I was like, I get to travel for my job and people pay for it and they want me to shoot their memories, like their most important memories. And I just remember just feeling like so high on life. Like I was just so excited that I'd finally done what 12-year-old me had decided that she wanted to do at such a young age. So
is this something that you'll continue to do, or is there other things that you would want to accomplish?
I would definitely continue. I will definitely continue. It's a good job to have for any stage of life, honestly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it for as long as I possibly can.
Well, and if you love it, then why not stick
Yeah.
with it?
I do love it.
You've been doing this for 10 years. You have to have like a good story in there of like,
Let's see here. I was on a flight to shoot a wedding in Mexico one time, and I didn't realize because I had never met the bride or groom for this wedding.
okay.
And I was second shooting, and so I was just there to take photos.
Okay,
and
so
leave.
explain for the people who don't understand what that is, because
Yeah.
I feel everybody knows that you can just like hire a photographer for a wedding, and they'll show up and they take photos. But explain what that means to be first or second shooter.
So the first shooter is like the head shooter. It's the main photographer that got hired.
Okay.
And then most packages come with a second shooter added on. And so the second shooter basically captures what the first shooter is not able to do. Because if you have a really packed timeline, the second shooter will be able to go where the first shooter is not. So say, for example, the bridesmaids are getting ready at point A, but the groomsmen are getting ready at point B. And at 3:30, we're all going to meet up. So the first shooter will go with the bridesmaids and the bride and get their photos while I go to the groomsmen's room and get their photos.
Got it.
So that way it's just kind of like two birds, one stone, makes everything run smoother. It's also really nice on the wedding day because you just have someone that you can call or just pick up some slack or go where you're not.
Or different angles.
Yep, exactly. And so,
But the second shooter you were saying earlier usually only does the photos, and the main photographer does the editing.
Yep.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, it depends on what the head photographer, what you're contracted in for. So sometimes you'll just hand the SD cards to them and that's what you did for the day. Like you don't have to edit anything. Or some photographers will let you use the second shooter, the photos that you took while you were second shooting for your profile or for your portfolio. So anyways, I was in Mexico, on my way to Mexico, and I'd been hired as a second shooter, so I didn't know what the bride and groom looked like. I only knew their names. And I was like sitting in the flight, and the flight attendant was like, "Oh, everyone give it up for bride and groom, like they're going to go get married." And I was like, "Oh, I wonder if that's my bride and groom." And then they were like sitting like 2 rows ahead of me, and it turns out it was them. Like we were on the same flight. And but they left before I could even say anything. I was just like, I wonder if they like saw me while we were boarding. Maybe they knew. I don't even know if they knew who I was, but that was definitely a small world because I booked. I had no idea what flight they were on, so it was just like flight out to Cabo. So yeah.
So you did weddings since you were 12.
Yeah, I've been shooting since I was 12, but weddings since I was like a little older.
Okay, and then you're gonna have to remind me, when you graduated, did you go to school and then you left for your mission, or did you?
Yeah.
Okay,
So I graduated in 2020, rough year.
for all of us.
Yeah, it was rough. So then I left for college, and then I left for my mission a year and a half later.
And where did you serve again?
I went to Chile.
Chile.
Mm-hmm.
I always want to say Chile, but you and
Yeah.
Austin say it so different because you served in the same place.
Yeah,
Chile.
Chile.
And how was it?
It was great. I learned a lot. It was honestly, I remember in the first few weeks, it was really hard because you have to learn Spanish. And I was just kind of learning, and I was in the thick of it. And I just remember thinking, like, everyone always talks so highly about this. And I was like, but this is really hard.
The Spanish?
Everything. Just like Spanish, being immersed in the culture, living with someone else 24/7 that you don't get to choose. So I remember just thinking, like, everyone's always like, this is so fun, so worth it. And I was like, maybe I just like blanked out or like blocked out the part where they were like, but it's so hard. Like I was like, this is not what I signed up for. Eventually I figured it out. But it was really hard in the first few weeks, and I never like wanted to give up. I never wanted to quit or go home, but I was very, very uncomfortable because I'm a planner. I like love to plan. I like to have things the way that I plan them, and that's not what a mission is at all. Like every 6 weeks you're supposed to be experiencing like some violent sort of change. Like you're moving or you're staying and getting a new companion. So it was the change that was hard for me to adjust to, but it has helped me so much.
Do you still use your Spanish?
I should use it more.
Do you think it has helped you expand your clientele, or you don't really use it in your career?
I used it whenever I shot the wedding in Cabo.
Okay.
A little bit. I didn't start the wedding them knowing I spoke Spanish, but they were speaking Spanish, and I would pick up on what they're saying and be able to answer. They're like, "Oh, you speak Spanish?" I was like, "Yes."
Yes.
Not very good, but yes.
So you went to school and then you went on a mission.
Mm-hmm.
And then you came back and you're obviously graduating. What made you? Oh my gosh, I think I already asked you that. The whole PR, because you're in PR.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I'm rough.
You're good.
Struggling. It's been a day. Can you tell?
Yeah.
You're a big foodie, so I love how like when you do go and travel and you do go to your weddings, you like really do immerse yourself in the culture.
Yeah, that's a really big thing for me. Like if I think I'm going out to California twice next week, and
Twice in 1 week?
Yeah.
Girl,
it's gonna be crazy.
Your sky miles are
yeah. Yeah, that's a nice plus about it. But yeah, I like to plan out like my new spots to eat, and I just like to travel alone, honestly. Like sometimes I'll bring people to travel with me, or I'll invite people. But I just like it's honestly like very serene for me just to
Okay, I think that's a huge
red flag.
No. 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 I think that's a huge, like in traveling, either I think you like to travel with people or you like to travel solo.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
I would be so scared to travel solo.
Yeah. Whenever I'm with people, it's like obviously people that I choose to be with. Like they know how I am. I know how they are. Planning trips is great. But I do enjoy traveling alone.
Good Lord.
You're good.
Lord help me. I'll just edit this part out. Well, I should have written all my questions down on a piece of paper. I should do that. Okay, well, let's just move into your TikToks because I think those are
Okay.
hilarious. You've blown up on TikTok a couple times.
Yes. A couple times.
But not for your photography.
Nope. Never for my photography. Like I need my personal account to be my photography account because that'd be nice.
Combine them. What's been like the funnest TikTok that you've made that like you didn't think was gonna go? Like just boom. Like why did they boom? Or they just
I did a TikTok of my sister and her boyfriend was at the time.
now they're married.
Now they're married.
So it works. So maybe that's why it boomed.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah. He basically bought like a 12-pack of like those Smuckers lip balm. Smuckers, I don't know. It was like all the different flavors, but they were like different types of candy. And so basically I made a video. He would like put it on and then she would kiss him. And then she would have to guess what candy the lip balm was. And so that blew up like very quickly. Like it was like overnight. And then like I think the next day it had like 3 million views.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. The comments were hilarious.
Were they?
Yeah.
Do you just like go and read them?
Yeah, sometimes. And it still gets traction. It was like a year and a half ago now. But people are still commenting. That's what it is with every viral video, is it still gets put through the algorithm. So you're still getting notifications on it like years later.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You have some funny TikToks that have gone viral based on your dating life. Like I think the one that you just posted, the 2024 dating recap or the rap.
Yeah, dating wrapped,
was hilarious.
Thank you. It didn't get as much traction as I hoped because I thought it was quite funny. But
it was quite funny.
It's just like an unfortunate scenario, like all the first dates that I went on and if they progress to like second or third or end up dating.
You have some great stories, dude.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate.
Unfortunate.
I mean, it's like to the point where I'm like, do it for the plot. Like if it doesn't work out, at least I'll be able to make people laugh with the story. So.
Oh, I love getting on there and then seeing what story it is today. I mean, I don't envy you because
not many people do.
Not go in the dating pool in this.
It's insane. It's like people where we live, it's like people always think that there's something better. And so whenever you're dating, even though you have something like perfectly good, perfectly normal, like a normal person that like wants to date and get better and get to know you and everything, it's just like not enough. Like there's just like it's like a different type of mindset. Like the grass is always greener. I think it's mostly because of like social media, honestly.
Yeah.
Because people see a lot more than we were ever supposed to see from someone's life. Like we get to see someone's life like in every single part of it. And so I think that people are just obsessed with the idea of that there's always something better out there. And so I think that that's partially why the dating culture has changed so much in like such a short amount of time.
Dude, I agree with that because you only get to see what that person wants you to see.
Right.
And then to just have that like comparison is tough. I had a friend who they would go through that. They dated for a couple years and then they could never tie the knot because it was always like, well, I don't want to tie the knot because what if somebody else comes along?
Right. And that's like such a terrible mindset to live in.
Yeah. And to me, it's just hard. And I talked about this in the other podcast too. It's like, I'm a very black and white kind of person.
Yeah.
And I'm very like, just be transparent and open. And if you're looking for something better, then just like move on. Like we can do other things.
Yeah.
Or accomplish other things.
Yeah. And it's like whenever you're swiping on a dating app, like I feel honestly terrible. Like, I don't know this person. I don't know their personality. I'm a big personality gal. Like, if people are like, what's your type? It's literally personality. Like, if you can make me laugh, like, you're sold.
I think that was on your rap list. It was like, what was it? It was something like, if they get a point if they laugh at my jokes. Or
yeah, probably. Yeah, if you laugh at my jokes and I laugh at your jokes, we're going to get along just fine.
I do think you're getting somewhere with the dating rap. Like, I think if people were a little bit more cautious of the data that they put just in their dating life, like even you had the data points of, I met this many on a dating app. I met this many in person. I met this many through family, like through friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting somewhere.
I'm trying. I don't want to be like completely hands off. The person I am supposed to be with will come and find me because like sure, like to a certain degree. But like I don't want to just like sit back and sit in my room and work all day. Like I have to put in a little bit of effort.
Yeah.
So
do you have any funny stories? Or horror story, first date horror stories you want to share?
Yeah, there's this one guy. This one's not terrible. It's just like unfortunate.
Some of the ones that are hilarious, we don't have to share on the podcast.
Yeah.
You can go find Addie on TikTok.
You can come follow my TikTok and I'll let you know there. One guy, it wasn't like honestly horrible, like great guy. He actually spilled his like scalding hot chocolate all down me. It was like not fun. But there's this one guy. His story's honestly awful. So I had recently just got out of a long-term relationship, and about 2 months after that, I downloaded a dating app, and I was like, I'm just gonna try to meet nice guys. Not necessarily like anything super serious, but nothing like too unserious. Like I just wanted to like genuinely.
You're getting in the dating pool.
Yes,
you're
like,
trying
just,
to
like,
find
dip my toes in.
Yeah, or at least find friends who have friends who have friends, or
network
something.
a little bit.
Yeah,
it was rough after that breakup. Like I was honestly trying anything. So I was like, okay, I'll download a dating app, and there's like settings on this dating app where you can like put like how committal you are. So I put mine
really
on, yeah. So it's like just friends.
Nick Mose.
Yeah, it like goes up from there. It's like, and then like the end is like marriage, like companionship. Okay. And so I had mine on like the lowest setting, like just friendship. And so this guy starts messaging me. He's like, hey, do you want to go for a drive? I was like, okay. So I live in Utah. And so just go on a drive doesn't mean just go on a drive. And so I was like, hey, I would love to, if that's literally all you mean. Like I was like, I just got out of a long-term relationship. I don't really know if you noticed my little sliders on friendship. So like nothing serious. Like I just want to talk basically. But I was like, sure. If you agree with what I just said, then 100% we can.
If the drive in the car breaks the ice.
Yeah. Then yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I was like, sure. So he's like, yeah, we'll go get drinks. We'll go for a drive in the canyon. And like, that's literally it. He's like, let's just talk. And I'm like, okay, cool. So he's like, I'll pick you up on Wednesday. It's in like 2 days. So Wednesday comes around and I text him. I'm like, still good? He's like, yep. See you at 7, I guess it was. And I get in the car and I have to reiterate like one more time. I'm like, just so you know, like I just got out of a long-term relationship. I'm not really looking for anything, but I would really like to be friends, like try to dip my toes back into talking to boys.
Transparent, open.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah.
I had to keep it real with him. I didn't want to lead him on because that's the worst. And so I was like, okay. He was like, okay, sounds good. No worries. There's a gas station right up the way on the canyon. We pulled up, he starts filling up his car and he was like, do you want to go get the drinks? I was like, for sure.
Wait, you guys are going to drive the canyon or to the canyon overlook spot?
No, not overlook spot.
Okay.
We were going to go on a drive.
What is that spot called?
Squaw Peak.
Squaw Peak.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what Squaw Peak is.
And the only time I've actually ever been to Squaw Peak was to record one of my funny TikToks. So go look it up. But so he's like, go inside and get the drinks if that's okay. I'm like, sure. Grab my purse, grab my phone. He's filling up his car. It's like the gas station in Orem right outside of Provo Canyon. Mm-hmm. So I'm grabbing the drinks, 2 large Dr. Peppers, and
specific.
Yeah, I remember it. It's always going to be ingrained in my mind.
You're never going to get a Dr. Pepper again.
No, literally drinking a Dr. Pepper right now. Flashbacks. So I have the 2 Dr. Peppers. I'm walking outside and he's gone. He left me at the gas station.
No, he didn't.
I looked at my phone and I was blocked on everything. Like the dating app we met, blocked. Instagram, blocked. I had his number blocked. I didn't even know his last name. Like I couldn't even like look him up on anything else. He left me. And
At
so
the gas
station,
Dr. Peppers.
I was sitting there. I'm just like, who do I call? So I call one of my old roommates, and she comes and gets me. And the only thing that I can chalk it up to was that he got his girls confused, because I made it clear in the car one more time after he had already gotten me. We were already on our way. I was like, hey, I just want to talk. Like, let's just be friends. Like, nothing else farther than
What
that.
kind of dude just like,
I don't know.
how do I get rid of this girl and not go on this date? Oh, I'll just get gas
I'll just leave her.
and leave her at
Yeah.
a gas station.
Yeah. There's like so many other like, hey, if he told me to my face, hey, I actually got you and another girl confused, I would say like, no problem at all. Drop me back off. Like, I do not care. I don't want to be here anyway. I'm literally like forcing myself to start talking to guys again. Like, you think I want to be here? No. I was like, you literally could have dropped me back off. You could have said your stomach hurt. Literally any excuse. You could have had a friend call you and say, hey, I have to go help someone move. I don't care.
Yeah, I have to go pick
Lie
up
to my
a friend.
face, literally. Why would you leave me at a literal gas station alone? It was cold
At
too.
least-
It
at
was like
least-
February, like around this time.
I mean, at least he left you at the one that's like 15, 20 minutes from your apartment versus like
Yeah.
you drive to downtown Salt Lake or something.
Oh, that would have been horrendous.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that's probably like the most scarring one, honestly. It's fine now. It was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh
So.
my gosh. Does he still block? You don't remember his name?
I don't
or
remember his
anything?
last name. I remember his first name started with like a C or a K. Like just one of the like Utah sounding names. I think I've literally like blocked it out. Like I cannot remember his full name.
Well, that'd be great if you could like look back and see what
I
he's
know.
doing now.
He's like married with kids. You left me at a gas station.
with the girl he thought you were.
Yeah. Hopefully that worked out for him, honestly. But there's definitely better ways that he could have handled it.
Oh my gosh. What a douche. You dodged a bullet, honestly.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh my gosh.
A weird bullet to be dodging. I never thought that I would ever encounter that.
Or he
but-
just left you at a gas station.
High and dry.
Did you drink both the Dr. Peppers?
No, I gave it to my roommate that picked me up. I was like, here.
Oh
She
my
was
gosh.
so concerned though. Like she was like, I thought you were going on a date. I was like, me too. But
how do you feel about dating now? Like you got out of that long-term relationship and then you dipped your toes in. How do you feel now?
now I feel like I've gotten into a really good rhythm with like school, work, everything. I obviously really value my alone time. But it's still like the same. Well, both my little sisters are married. And so I thought that I would feel like this immense pressure from my family and from like outside sources on like, you need to get married, you need to get married. But I honestly just don't. Like, it's kind of exciting that I probably haven't met my husband yet. And there's still like a whole story that's going to unfold. And whatever that story is, like, I'm excited for it, but I'm not in any rush. I do want to be in a relationship, I would say, but I'm not needing it.
Yeah.
I would say.
I think that's very important and valid because I think it always comes when you're not looking or not when you're not expecting.
People always say that. And I'm like, okay, I'm not looking.
Okay, close my eyes.
Okay, fine.
But I think what they really mean, like internally, it's not. It's like you're in such a good spot with yourself.
Yeah.
Because there's a friend that I have, and I'm not gonna say their name, but you know, they've always been like reliant on being in a relationship with somebody else, and then that is what makes them happy.
Right.
And I think being comfortable and confident and happy first, and then having that person just add and elevate and lift you is like, is better.
I don't want to like start a relationship off by like necessarily like needing anyone. Like I just want to be comfortable with myself, and then I want to find just that match, you know, that just helps you become even better than you already are. And I don't really know if I have encountered that. So,
But at least you have gone through the the way you know what you're looking for and you know you're wanting to go.
I'm super grateful for everything that has happened up until this point, because I'm honestly quite picky. Like, I do have very high expectations, and I am aware of that. But it's all because of things that guys that I've dated in the past that I'm like, well, I would prefer that. And not even like, because as I was saying before, like Provo or Utah County dating is like, you're always going to find someone better. But like, it's just, there's certain personality traits that I would want in a husband. And so like why at the same time I would be content with like this one person, that's still not something that I had always dreamed of. Like, say like a guy is like not super patient. Like, I know my personality type requires a lot of patience. So I'm like kind of trying to hold out for someone a little bit more patient. And no hate to any of the guys that I've dated, but that's just, you just kind of learn from like trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like the grass is always greener, but that's just something that I know that I need. So,
or especially to find somebody that you can like parent with.
Exactly. Like I always see the TikToks that's like, you can choose who you marry, but like you can't choose who your kid's father is. Like they're growing up with that dad because you chose that person to be married to. And so like I do want to make a good conscious decision, not only for myself and my future life, but like the kids that I will hopefully be having.
Yeah. I think you have an extra perspective to it because you capture so many people's love through a film.
That is like, that is the main thing, is like, I see relationships. It was more whenever I first started out and I like knew that it wasn't going to work. But like, as I've grown my business and I've seen more of these stories and hearing the speeches that they give each other and the vows, and just like seeing this cumulative point of like their whole lives lead to this, like I just like want it really bad. And I see everything, all these people that helped them get to where they were, and like everyone all comes together for like this wedding day to like celebrate them and who they are and like how they've like found this perfect match. And it's just a different type of, it's just very interesting to like be capturing love on a daily basis while simultaneously be looking for that myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really big part of who I am, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, have you ever seen The Wedding Planner with J-Lo? The movie.
Oh, with Matthew McConaughey?
Yes.
I haven't seen it recently.
Okay, it's been a while, but she has a couple moments in there where you just like, when you're in a wedding planner, or an event planner, like things just that are chosen typically, like you can just see the trend of that person. So let me explain. There's like, so everybody knows in the wedding planner, she meets this guy, likes him, and then he ends up being the groom of the wedding she's starting to plan, right? And as they go through the wedding, she's like, anybody who picks this song, they get divorced in 2 years. And then he picks that song, right? Do you have any trends, or do you find anything like that when you're doing weddings that you're like, wedding planner moments?
Yeah, I think you can really, really tell by the way that they treat each other and the way they talk to each other. Like, even just the way that they hold hands, I feel like tells me a lot. Like, it's just like a certain bond that people have, and everything just like feels right. But not normally, on the off chance where things like aren't really flowing or not feeling right, it always comes down to like how they talk to each other and how they treat each other.
The bride and groom on the wedding day.
Or in a shoot leading up to it. I've only had it happen twice, honestly, where I was like, I'm not super sure about this. Normally they call the wedding off or it ends.
Have you been booked for weddings and they've ever been called off?
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with that?
Do
you have a thing in your contract that says like a deposit or anything?
Mm-hmm. Normally I will refund. It depends how close the wedding is before it gets called off. Like, I had a girl who called off the wedding a week before, and I give her a chunk of her deposit back because I'm human and I would never want that to happen to me, honestly. Like I always try to put myself in my client's shoes. But at that point, I did keep some of her deposit because you can't book a wedding date that quickly. Because say you're charging this couple $3,000 to shoot their wedding day, and then a week before they cancel and they want all their money back, you can't fill the spot with someone else a week before. So it just kind of depends, like, how long it is until the wedding. But at the end of the day, I always try to put myself in my client's shoes because that's really nothing that anyone ever wants to go through.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. And I would expect someone to have grace with me if I was going through it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect it. I would hope for it. So,
what is your favorite part of weddings? Like, what's the one moment that you like look forward to every single time?
I really like the way that grooms look at brides whenever they first see them. Like if they have like a private first look or walking down the aisle. I also really like just anything intimate with like, because you dream of your wedding day for so long and you just want it to go so perfectly, but just any of like the in-between moments I really love. Like I always like capturing couples walking into their reception or their first dance. Just the whole wedding day is just very special, and it just makes me giddy to think about weddings. Like I love it, even though they could be like high pressure and high anxiety at times. It's just so fun. Like two people just coming together.
Yeah. They're full of love.
Yeah.
And it's not even, I think like a lot of people, it's not even just the love of like the couple. Like everybody's there to support you because they love you. Mm-hmm.
And that love just like spills over and over and over. And you can tell in the photos 100%. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
Oh my gosh, why do my thoughts just keep no more Dr. Pepper? It's like throwing off.
That's probably what it is, honestly.
Honestly, I like don't drink soda ever, and I'm like, fine, give me a swig, and then I'm like brain crapped out. Okay, well, we'll go with this one because I can't remember the other one. What's your favorite wedding trend that you've seen?
Ooh.
Because weddings are your like go-to. Like you'll do attorney, you do everything, but like your like
bread
number
and butter,
one,
I would say,
is
weddings.
So what's your favorite wedding trend?
I would say I really like intimate weddings, like with a very low guest count. I feel like it's just a lot more fun, honestly. Like I did a wedding where there was only like 25 guests and it was just so special. Like the entire day was amazing. They had like an Airbnb rented out. Everyone was staying like in those close quarters, and you could just tell that everyone was just, it was just very intentional. And I loved that. And I loved the speeches, and just every part of the day was just so special. And I like got to know everyone there. Mm-hmm. Like I walked away with like new friends, not just the couple. Mm-hmm. I would say that I really do like a good dress change, like for a reception.
You like the dress changes?
I do.
Okay.
Like a fun, short, glitzy dress. I've had a couple brides cut their hair at the reception. I don't think I'll be doing that for myself because I love my hair.
Your family has the best hair.
Thank you. But I think that was fun to capture for sure. But yeah, anywhere, just a small wedding, just very relaxed. I really love that.
Do you do a lot of elopements?
Not where I know a lot of people do like elopements where they'll like hike with their couple up to like the top of the mountain. I haven't done any of those. I'm definitely open to it.
Do you have like a mood board or a goal list that you have for your business, or do you kind of just like take the opportunities as they come?
I am kind of conflicted with that because I obviously have places where like I want to shoot, and I do try to attract clients at those places. But at the end of the day, if someone's like, hey, we're getting married in Switzerland, I'm going to Switzerland. Like, or like we're getting married in I don't know, New York City, I'm gonna do that. Like, it's just up to where my clients want me. I definitely have like more monetary goals, and goals to just kind of elevate my business and the experience that I provide for my clients. But as far as like destinations, I'll go anywhere.
So you don't do any mood boards for your...
Oh, for my shoots?
Yeah.
I use Pinterest. You can like make collages on Pinterest, and normally I like to hear from my client first and see what they like.
Okay.
And then I can kind of add to it. We have a couple calls, like say if it's for a wedding. We have a couple calls so that we can be on the same page. So just so that I go into the shoot prepared for what they had in mind.
Do you have a lot of stylized shoots?
The last one I did was last summer. It was beautiful. It was amazing.
Do you go to them or do you host them?
I have done both. I go to them and I have hosted my own. Hosting my own was very fun, actually. I would definitely be into doing that again. I just feel like it can get hard because you just have to be very, very creative. And so if like an idea pops into my mind, I'll just like write it down. And more often than not, I end up doing the shoot, but I end up doing it for myself instead of having people pay to come shoot it as well. Which definitely pays off, but definitely can get expensive if you're paying for it all yourself. But of course, there's like a lot of people that they would just love free photos of themselves. And so it's pretty easy to find people that would agree with your vision. But yeah, I attend and host both, and I do think it's a great way to build your portfolio if you have a certain clientele that you're trying to break into, a certain market you're trying to break into. I feel like that's been very useful for me. So I definitely see the value in paying for those.
But we were talking earlier, you don't do as much stylized shoots now because you kind of have the content unless you had something very specific that you wanted to.
Yeah. So like say if I really, really, really wanted to shoot a wedding in Spain, like it's not unlikely, but it's more likely that people that are traveling to Spain that are traveling to Spain to get married would want to see photos that you've taken in Spain. So you fly out there, you set up your own shoots, which can be very expensive. But that's why I see the value in people traveling to take certain photos. Like a lot of people do come into Utah because Utah's so scenic and beautiful, honestly. So a lot of people do come into Utah looking for the mountains, the sand dunes, the lake, the salt flats. So I don't attend many right now unless it's like very, it's like unless it's a little bit higher end or unless if I kind of align with the mood board that the person setting up the styled shoot has already made.
Yeah.
Then
how did you find your sense of editing? Because I feel like I know you talked about editing is like one of your more like favorite things to do, but how did you find your sense of editing?
Well, first I just started off with those little Visco packs on my phone. But then I got Lightroom. I started downloading different, they call them presets, basically just like a filter that you put on. And there was no preset that I would just apply, and I just like loved how it looked. It was very hard to find my editing style. And so I remember whenever I got home from my mission, I obviously kind of like forgot how to work, like forgot how to take photos, forgot how to edit. So I had to like get back into it. But the way that I did it was I just sat down one day with my Lightroom open and I clicked every single button on Lightroom to figure out what exactly it did. And so from there, I just kind of revamped my editing style. Before my mission, it was a little bit warmer. Now it's a little bit cooler toned. And I feel like that was just because I literally clicked every single button that existed, and I know what everything does. And then I just would apply a random preset, but I would just end up tweaking it like so much. Like it looked nothing from where I started. But eventually I just made my own and just kind of kept going along with that. And adapting it from there. Like, it changes every day.
Yeah.
But
do you stick to a style or do you edit it based on what's best on that photo?
I edit it based on what's best.
Okay.
I make sure everything's cohesive within the gallery, but it's very different editing like flash photos from direct sunlight photos.
Yeah.
So I just kind of edit for the photo in a way that makes it cohesive to the gallery.
Okay. And then you've been adding, is it film?
Mm-hmm.
I like know nothing about photography, so I don't.
Yeah.
Isn't it just a camera, or is there like a full process you have to get it still? You have to like send it off.
Mm-hmm. So there's a local film store that I drop it off at, but I shoot on 2 35mm cameras, and then I shoot on a 120mm medium format. And honestly, what got me into it is I would go over to my grandparents' house. They live in Draper, and they would show me like all these photos that my ancestors, they're not that old. Like, I think it was like my great grandma.
So I guess it is ancestors.
Yeah, but that just sounds so old.
It does.
No offense. But photos that they took, and I was just like drawn to it immediately. Just the idea of like that film captures light in that way that's like so nostalgic. And I heard one time someone say that film is a chemical masterpiece. Like, the light aligns perfectly to just create that chemical reaction. And then that's what film is. Like, I send it off and I wait a few days to get it back, and then it has a whole different dimension to it. Like, the depth that film has is something that is really, really hard to replicate.
Do you include that in your packages?
Yeah, all my packages include a complimentary roll of film, and then they can add on as many as they like. The more the better, honestly.
How many
I
is
love film.
in one roll?
Normally comes back with like 36 shots, but film is pretty temperamental, and so normally I get like 32 or 33 back per roll. Okay. Yeah.
Do you use Polaroids at all? I know there's some like photographers that do Polaroids, but would you prefer film over?
Yeah, film over Polaroids any day, but I do include Polaroids from the day, and that gets sent to my clients as like a thank you gift. It's like all their Polaroids from the day.
So you do thank you gifts? Or did I just say thank you gifts?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good add-on.
It is cute. Sometimes I'll grab like a petal or a couple petals from the bride's bouquet, and I'll send it off to a lady, and she makes like these earrings or these necklaces off like with their petals. She like puts like resin.
Yeah.
And then puts the petals in. So pretty. And it's so special.
Yeah.
If you're one of my clients, you did not hear that, but you'll be getting it soon. So.
Or if somebody ever wanted to get started, right?
Just do it.
But how did, like, okay, you can say just do it, but like to me, I'm like, I know nothing about cameras.
Yeah.
So what would you tell them to like start with, and like the process that they like 3 things that they should focus on when starting photography?
Yeah, I would invest in good gear. It's not like super important to have the best top of the line gear. There's a lot of good stuff out there that's like very affordable. I remember I shot on a Canon RP, and it was only like $800 plus the lens, I guess. But get a decent camera, and I was self-taught. I just sat down with my camera. It's the same thing with Lightroom. Like, I sat down and I pushed every button, and I did the same thing with my camera. Like, I figured out my aperture, I figured out my f-stop, figured out my just like pretty much anything, like my Kelvin, and I just made sure that I knew what each button did. And then it was just trial and error. Like, I just shot and shot and shot and shot and shot. Like, that was a big part of, I feel like, why my business took off in Utah, was because I was just shooting every single day. Like, it didn't matter if it was people or things. I just would make sure that I knew my settings. Also, like, a good, you could invest in like a class. I know people do it on YouTube. It's probably free. There's also like master class sessions that I know help. There's a lot of established photographers that do teach basic courses. There's also, I know I offer mentorship sessions or you can come along with me to a shoot and I can help you with your settings. I can help you edit your photos after, or just like a Zoom call. And you just ask questions about running your business, because that can be like the most difficult part. Because if you really love photography and if you really have an eye for it, at some point it just flows.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be hard with the settings, but that's just something you push through. So yeah, I would just say shoot as much as you possibly can and get to know your editing software very well and get to know your camera very well.
And then in terms of like marketing, you have your website and you have Instagram. Is that the only way that you market yourself?
Website, Instagram, then I'm getting into TikTok and Pinterest right now. So it's just like a world I had no idea about 10 years ago. So I'm just trying to take advantage of everything.
Here's a good question, because I feel like this is like something that's really coming out. Are you using a lot of AI? Like, is it helping you, not helping you?
I don't use it too much. I honestly just like haven't had the need to use it often.
Yeah, because you're so talented, so why need it?
No. But I have been able to see the things that it can do, and it's crazy. Like, it saves so much time. I know that there's a software that's, I think it's like in like the beta stage, or it's being launched soon, or already is, I don't know. But you submit like 10 of your galleries to it. It picks up on your editing style based on the changes that you made while you edited, and then it applies it to the gallery that you import. So all your photos are technically edited. You just have to go in and tweak them and make sure it's how you like it, and make sure like there's not a stop sign in the back of the photo, just kind of stuff like that. But it gives you like a pretty nice base edit from what I've been seeing. It's pretty pricey. And honestly just like haven't had a need for it yet. I might soon with busy season.
Yeah, when is busy season for weddings?
All the time. No.
Because I don't know, I hear that all the time. Everybody's like, it's wedding season. I'm like, I feel like wedding season is all the time.
Yeah.
But so when is technically like your busy wedding season?
I would say from like April till September is like insane. Like probably shooting like 4 or 5 times a week. Sometimes I'll do double header weddings per weekend. Like if it's like a Friday and then a Saturday. I guess that's more local if I'm not traveling for the wedding. But right now it's just pretty much booking those weddings, like those fall weddings, and then taking engagements for those clients right now.
How far in advance should people be booking their wedding photographer?
I would say as far as you can, as far as you know you're getting married. People from the end of 2026 are already reaching out. So yeah, it's very interesting to see because I booked a wedding yesterday that's in 2 months. Like it totally depends on you and where you're getting married and when. So I say as soon as possible, because if people are already inquiring about 2026, the end of 2026, that means people are already booking the end of 2026.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, might as well get a head start before everyone else starts doing the same thing.
Are there certain venues or things that you will not do?
Yes.
You don't have to say them.
I probably won't say it.
Don't say them on.
Won't say them, but yes, there's definitely like preferences. I do prefer whenever brides have a planner. I do prefer whenever they have a florist. These aren't anything. It's not anything that I'll say like, oh, I'm not booking with you because you don't have a florist. But it definitely makes the day a lot easier, because it's very notable the stress that's on the bride and the people surrounding her. Mm-hmm. Because if mom is running around because she's in charge of the flowers, then who's there to enjoy the wedding day with the bride? And then the bride's stressed because her mom's running around. Mm-hmm. So the more steps that you can take to make the day as seamless as possible, I am all for. So
yeah, I'll say that as a wedding planner officially now. And I've heard this from many, many wedding photographers and many weddings that I've been to, and I have not gone to as many as you have. But a lot of people don't want to hire a planner because they think they can DIY a wedding, which you
Yeah.
can. It is possible. But one, you should be enjoying the day.
Mm-hmm.
And two, I've had a couple photographer friends who've been like, I'm not the wedding planner. And it always kind of tends to fall back on the photographer to run the schedule and run the timeline. And so if you're a bride who really wants to like improve, like good photographer and get a wedding planner who can help manage all the vendors coming in, everything going everywhere, the things that go wrong. Like there's a lot that happens.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you're investing this much money into your wedding photographer, you should be wanting to give them all of the tools possible so that they are best able to capture your day and best able to capture what's actually going on instead of making an announcement that your cake cutting is starting in 5 minutes. Like that's not really their job, and you want them to do their job.
Yeah.
So,
or sometimes even organizing the families, like, okay, everybody stay here, like just coordinating that so you can capture the intimate moments and the planner can actually coordinate the people.
Yeah.
But okay, any more tips or tricks for wedding planning photography? Advice by Addie. Podcast coming soon.
No. I do not have time for that. That'd be fun though. I don't think so. Yeah.
Can we go watch The Bachelor now?
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
We've been dying. We're the Bachelor girls over here.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm addicted. I love Joey and Kelsey. There's nothing that'll ever replace that season for me. I feel like that was just
that's the season that got me involved in the Bachelor series. So then I went back and watched others. But I don't know if it was because it was that good or if it was because I was that pregnant and
you just needed something to be invested in.
I needed something because I was so big and so pregnant that I was like, what's on TV? Oh, Joey, okay, I'll watch this. It's all over TikTok.
No,
so.
it really is. That was the peak, I would say.
Peak.
Grant has very big shoes to fill.
Well, let's see if we can film season 1s this week.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Okay, well, I love you and thank you for hopping on. I love watching you and your stories unfold are hilarious.
Thank you.
If they want to find you, they can find you on Instagram or TikTok.
Yep, Instagram, TikTok.
Or AddieTaylorPhotography.com.
Yep, AddieTaylorPhoto.com. That is me.
Why does I guess it's just easier because that's your brand, right?
Yep. I have always thought like maybe I'll change that whenever I get married, but I have not run into that problem yet. So I don't know.
I love it. We'll just follow you on Instagram then.
Yeah.
And watch all the funny TikToks of all of her date stories.
Yep.
They're great. Okay, love you.
Love you too.
Oh my God, I almost dropped that.
Oh, good catch.